Greetings, Wolverines. I hope my show reaches you today in a positive and uplifting place. Today's show is going to be focused on a character trait called tolerance. I think this is an important topic, especially in these days and times. Tolerance, I think, is missing in the society. This is just one Wolverine's opinion. But I think delving in to what exactly tolerance is and the importance of tolerance can really help us move forward in this tumultuous time. I had a book that I had for quite some time. My sister gave to me. She is a teacher, and it's a character book. And I just was scrolling through it or flipping through it the other day, and I came upon a very, very interesting little snippet about a turtle. And you can often look to nature to find a perfect intelligence and a wonderful example of how we can behave and we are designed, and some really good lessons that we can derive from just observing nature. So in this little snippet, it says, the soft meat of the eastern box turtle is a delicacy for curious raccoons. Unable to fight against the agile raccoon, the turtle must retreat inside its shell. As the raccoon tinkers with the turtle, trying to find a crack to pry it open, the turtle must patiently tolerate being turned over and tossed around while holding itself shut. Now, I thought about that, and I thought about the analogy of what's been going on with a lot of us. A lot of us, like this turtle, the eastern box turtle, are being tossed around and turned upside down and kind of like the raccoon, kind of just tinkered with. And it can be very challenging time for us. There are a lot of opposing opinions out there. There's a lot of activity in the political sector. There's a lot going on domestically for people. So I definitely wanted to bring this idea of tolerance up, because tolerance is simply just realizing that everyone is at varying levels of character development. And if you understand that, it kind of thwarts off any kind of judgment that you may have. So in this regard, I wanted to just remind you that you will have challenges, as I'm sure many of you've had this year already. But going forward, there will be challenges of people and places and things that will come up that will be very, very adverse to what you may believe. They may be very different than what you've or what you've experienced. So I think it's a very, very worthy character trait to have tolerance and to have the acceptance of another person's character development. Many times we find ourselves in the position of wanting to judge others by the way they behave, by what they say, and most importantly, as I have been feeling lately, by what they believe. But in truth, we are all in control of our own journey. We are all trying to do what we know to do. And sometimes what we know to do comes from our background. We may have ideologies, we may have habits that we're not even aware of because they're just habitual. So when you see someone or even yourself and you have these strong philosophies or you have these strong stances, we have to be aware that it's fine for us to adopt whatever philosophy or stance that we want to have, but it is also very important to practice tolerance of other views, tolerance of other philosophies and behaviors. Now, I don't want to get into anything too extreme. I mean, there are some things that are obvious that need to be kind of looked at and maybe said, in regards to discernment, that doesn't seem like something I want around me. This person doesn't have behavior that I think I want to participate in. So not so much talking about those things, but just talking about the time and energy, the psychological time and energy that we spend not liking or not accepting or having some kind of negative energy towards someone that has a different opinion, a different lifestyle than we do. So I think this is a point coming into the holiday season. Sometimes there's a lot of heightened domestic issues. There's a lot of heightened, issues around the holidays. This has been a very, very difficult and whirlwind of a year. So I think going into the holidays, it is important to remember the character trait of tolerance. So a couple of things that I've done just for myself is I want to make sure that I'm looking beyond appearances. Back to that old adage, don't judge a book by its cover. You cannot tell what someone is or what their heart holds by just simply looking at them. That is a matter of fact. Okay? You cannot assume that you know something about someone just based on how they look. You may be right. You may, see a book that has a velvet covering, and you may say, oh, that's probably soft. But until you touch it, until you actually know it and become familiar with it, you don't know exactly what that book holds inside. Another thing I want to mention is you have to accept some people for who they are. Many of us feel at times that we possibly can change someone or show someone or bring them to quote unquote the light, enlighten them. And that is possible sometimes. But when it becomes excessive or when you find yourself entrenched in a situation where you are expending a lot of time and energy trying to course correct someone or change someone that doesn't want to be changed, that is not really going to work because someone has to be inspired to change by their own leverage, by their own desire. So accepting some people for who they are. I have a friend that is just a wonderful person. She talks loud and she talks a lot. And sometimes I've felt like saying, hey, this or that. We've had conversations, but at a certain point, I just realized, you know what? This is the way that she is. And she has so many other good attributes. And she has shared so much in regards to just what she knows and her friendship that if she talks a little loud at a higher, octave than some people, or if she, kind of talks a while and talks a little long, I think that I can accept that because her good outweighs the small little thing that sometimes can be annoying. That's friendship. Another thing that I think is important is you can help others grow in character and tolerance by simply displaying yourself as the example. Having a softer tone, having a more accepting energy. You can literally help someone by just being the example of what you would like them to maybe take a look at within themselves. You don't have to kind of browbeat them. You can simply be a example of what you would like to see in them. And it's possible that they will go ahead and catch on or find some value in your behavior. You can help them grow in their character as well by just changing your character around them. Another thing I want to mention, and this is somewhat of a difficult thing and kind of delves into the area of denial. Denial is one of the biggest things that, is just one of the largest things to face, to confront. You can't see yourself sometimes like other people see you. So in regards to tolerance, before we judge others, before we condemn others or have any kind of external view of others, we want to kind of take a good look at ourselves and ask ourselves, are we who we want to be, and is our behavior lining up with our values and our character? So it's kind of a good place to start in regards to tolerance, in looking at oneself and accepting one's own self and not being judgmental to thyself. Another thing is not to confuse what is right with what is popular. Sometimes, in regards to how we look outside of ourselves or at other people, being right is one thing, being popular is something else. So, in order to discern what exactly is a good attribute versus what is an attribute that just is popular, mainstream, fashionable. These are things that you want to be very careful about too, because things that are popular are not always correct. In fact, I look out here sometimes on the internet and I see some popular things that are absolutely toxic. There are a lot of things out there like that. So, in regards to tolerance, I just wanted to make that note that, realizing that other people have different convictions and other people are in their journey at a different pace than you are, it may help you become more peaceful and, more importantly, which is very important, conserve your energy. Energy conservation is a very, very worthy thing to look at, especially how this year is going and how we're revving up for the holiday season. So I hope that this message again has reached you in a positive place and you can use this show to remind yourself to have maybe a little more tolerance going forward in the fall. Thank you so much, Wolverines, for joining me. Like, share, and subscribe. Have a wonderful rest of your day.